Before we start, today I'm dropping even more hair colors for some of the previous anime UGC hairs. There's more stuff in the works for anime and manga accessory content coming soon, so keep an eye out for that. Check the link out down below. Thanks again. What's up guys, it's Punchy, and today I got a little bit of a weird video discussing the future of the game as far as Iron Vow is concerned. So a lot of people have been looking forward to Iron Vow as a new game mode for Deepwoken and the stuff a part of it, but its addition might vastly change the landscape of Deepwoken as we know it. I'm not the type of person who's extremely negative about Deep's content, and to be honest, they have been cooking recently. The planning, transparency about updates, and even the roadmaps they've been making are all positive across the board, but I don't know about the new game mode. There's one trending thing that's been constantly happening in Deepwoken with its player base that's starting to get a little bit problematic, but I think it can be solved. Let's talk about splitting up your player base. If you ask a majority of players who enjoy Deepwoken, they'll probably say they take part in PvP fighting players and PvE fighting monsters, but not everyone is like that. I think it's kind of fair to say that some sections of the community are fully dedicated to one or the other, splitting off into their specific way of gameplay, while somewhat neglecting the other part of Deepwoken. Of course, there's a large range and spectrum, but I've seen players only fight bosses and monsters or only progress to play Chime. It's polarizing, but it's not insane to say that it exists. This is a natural way Deepwoken kinda splits its player base, isolating them from the other side of the content, and it's not specifically their fault, it's just how it is. If people enjoy farming bosses instead of fighting players, that's up to them, and Deepwoken doesn't really have a say in that, but Deepwoken's design is responsible for isolating the player base with something that we honestly all enjoy. Instant servers at a base level are great, and there's no doubting that, so being able to play the game in a server that's just yourself in your own ping is probably the smoothest experience to play Deepwoken, but if you think about it, it's kinda lonely. Isolated servers only pop up in dungeons, Chime, like layer 2, all that sort of stuff, maybe even certain trials, and they're great because ping isn't an issue, but that comes with the restriction of a limited player count. The game can be played without the interference of lag or other players, but it isolates the player once again. I'm not saying that these dungeons or instant servers aren't a good idea, but take a look at the Carnival of Hearts. This is one of the buggiest world events in the entire game, and it's empty 100% of the time. Nobody wants to sit around for this event to spawn, and this is only really happening because there's no way to really play it. If you want to get some of the exclusive loot, you have to be in a server where this is happening, so that's every couple hours, and you have to see somebody actually click join to play it. You can't even join this off a server list or anything like that. There is no real good way to play this, so it's abandoned because there's no way to even do this with other people, and it's kind of sad to say that, but this can happen if it's an isolated game mode. In the game's current state, instant servers exist and players choose how they want to play, but even more player-based separation might be on the horizon. Remember this, Conquest, the PvP game mode planned a couple years back, was fully cancelled because it didn't fit with Deepwoken's style, was weird to play, but it also separated the players further, giving them yet another reason to neglect the overworld. Now with the Vow of Iron, this might be the same situation, and I don't know how to feel. So, the Vow of Iron is a secondary game mode planned for the game that splits players into Iron Vow servers and the base game servers. So, supposedly, this sort of way to play is more difficult with larger upsides and downsides, but the main point that I want to make is that the separation of the player base is gonna happen no matter what. Not to doom or anything, but if Iron Vow does well, or if it isn't what the community expects, so if it's good or bad, it's going to force Deepwoken into a pretty difficult situation. I'd say in the worst case scenario, the Vow of Iron drops and isn't as active as we thought, people might just not play this game mode, which is kinda what's already expected. I mean, the Iron Vow is not being created for the everyday player since it's hardcore, and it's intentionally made as side content meant to complement the current content in base Deepwoken. This is alright if it isn't like poppin' super crazy, but if the players don't enjoy how it plays entirely, they might leave it abandoned just like the Carnival of Hearts and go right back to playing normal Deep. Now, if we're positive about Iron Vow and it's just a massive success, there may be some choices the Deepwoken developers have to make. So for starters, more players on Deepwoken in general is great, but if the player base is split between Iron Vow and base Deepwoken, each portion is going to have fewer players, further dividing up the community. If the Iron Vow gameplay is secondary to base Deepwoken, content and balance is going to be on the back end, and if the mode is extremely popular, that might be a concern. If the majority of Deepwoken's player base wants content for Iron Vow, but the base game also needs content, the devs have to choose. I want to see both game modes for the game succeed, but it's almost inevitable that most players will pick and stick with a side to try out, which may isolate some of the player base. Now, if we're taking a look at the Deepwoken Verse 3 timeline, there's a lot here they want to take on, and if Iron Vow drops, I think that's going to have to take a backseat while Layer 3 is being cooked. No matter what happens, if Iron Vow is hype or if it isn't as successful as predicted, everything will have to wait until Layer 3 is out and ready for the players. Anyway, I want to finish off this speculation and breakdown with a little bit about the direction of Deepwoken's future. Conquest, a PvP-centric game mode that was another instanced option, was cancelled because it didn't fit with the game. So instead, Agamatsu said the PvP Illuminate was probably going to be a better option since it allowed for more players to join at once and was more of a natural setting instead of a PvP game mode that isolates you. Additionally, on the Verse 3 roadmap, they want to add new ways to progress with Faction Origins, which overall is going to unite the player base. We've seen with the Authority Origin that it's all about the community interaction and options in the overworld instead of an instance dungeon progression, and that is a positive trend. Finally, while talking about Layer 3, it was announced in a recent Deepwoken Direct that they plan to mix dungeon instances and overworld areas, which fixes some of the problems with Layer 2. As you can see, at least from my opinion, everything being done here about most of the new content planned is about new ways to play together with an overworld endgame that's natural instead of isolating the players into instance servers. Of course, we really have no idea how this game mode is going to work or anything like that, but it's been said many times that it's going to be a new hardcore option that's fully separated, and that's going to pull players away from the base content. In all honesty, I'm very excited to see what they cook up with the Vow of Iron, since I love making videos and I love playing the game, but I hope it's something that's maintainable for the future of the game. We've seen this happen with Rogue Lineage with its Gaia world and the K Uber world, and these are the same developers, and I think they'll improve upon this, and that's exciting to see. Anyway, I might be rambling, but I'm definitely not dooming. So leave your own thoughts down below. What do you think is going to happen with the release of this game mode? The devs are always asking for feedback, and this helps them out. Thanks once again to all the supporters who motivate me daily and directly help out this channel. If you want to join as a member, go down below, but besides that, my personal Discord, Guild Discord, and my UGC group are all linked, so check them out. Thanks once again, and make sure to like and subscribe. It's punchin' time.